Stand up for yourself, and I'll back you up. 'Cause problems don't solve themselves. I'll tell you what, instead of would or could, I think you should draw a line in the sand and stand your ground. It's for your own good.
Hello, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Voice of Families in Addiction. My name is Roy Poyan, and I am a chemical dependency counselor, counselor assistant, and a certified mental health coach. Today we're going to go through session 3, which is in preparation. We will have assumed that, number 1, we talked on the phone as part of your referral process. Number 2, you pulled down from our website, Families Impacted by Opioids, our session 1 for the Shooting Star Families program. And then then you moved on to meeting with us, and we reviewed that particular seminar with you. Then we had you pull down the next episode, which is the second session. And in that session, we talked about values and goals and objectives. And with that, we then met and we reviewed your understanding and how you're going to use that information. And then in now this third session today, we're going to look at the assessment process and how to build a curriculum in terms of a curriculum builder. So this will be the last of the 3 sessions that gets the whole area started for you in terms of, okay, we're about to start to change because we're about to get new information, and we want to make use of the new information so it brings a value to our life going forward in how we are going to handle as a family substance use disorders inside of our family dynamic. So with this in mind, session number 3, assessment and curriculum. Let's get started. One of the things that we're going to look at is, hey, I got a question for you. How appropriate are you for coaching? I mean, I can't really change who you are. You don't want me to, of course. But, maybe we could use this scale that's in this session 3 and have you kind of map out for yourself, are you in the green zone, the yellow zone, or the red zone? If you find yourself in the green zone, it's basically you're 100% functional. If you find yourself in the red zone, it means you're getting down to close what would be considered a 0 basic functionality. So in terms of the yellow zone, it represents a significant dysfunction that falls somewhere between total functionality and total dysfunctionality. How do you like that for clarity? But yellow typically is an unclear color. Uncertainty is the hallmark, okay? So you either know that you're functional or you know that you're not completely functional. And the yellow is because you're uncertain as to which you're yellow, okay? I think that's a pretty good indicator. And then what we do is we start to kind of go into, what does that mean for us? Well, if you have anxiety, okay, it's going to cripple you. And in terms of, people that report anxiety and dealing with, essential tasks in life, such as going to work and parenting and decision making, you're probably a good candidate for coaching because we're going to have to deal with these things, and we can help you to kind of be watchful as to what's causing that. It may be that you require a couple of sessions with a counselor or a therapist that would also help strengthen you. But we could decide that on the spot. The fact is that when you start the coaching process, those things bubble up. And in my experience, they bubble up pretty fast. So in terms of appropriateness for coaching, we're getting you ready because we're going to coach you. And where we're going to coach you in one of the key areas is in the area of learning. So, that's what a coach does, right? In hockey, they'll teach you to roll your wrist so the puck rolls off the blade of the stick and have the tip of the blade of the stick pointing where you want the puck to go. So if it's the upper right-hand corner of the net, that's where the blade of the stick would point. because it rolled off your stick and rolled right in that direction. More information than you needed, I'm sure. So with that in mind, we're now turning to the self-assessment scenario where you're going to start to assess, well, Roy, which one of these 32 issues is important for us to take? Well, I can't really answer that until you answer, your understanding of the disease. So in part one, we're sitting there saying in the self-assessment survey, what is the ability of your family members to deal with the issues, the problems related to living with someone that has a substance use disorders? Well, rate it, 1 to 10. How well are you guys dealing with this? And then category 2, the disease. How well does your family understand the disease? You see, we're going to take you through these 4 questions because that's going to determine which seminars we need to load into your assignment card. And then with the assignment card, then you'll start the sessions and you'll build your own curriculum. Hopefully, I think this will be more clear to you when you got it loaded, downloaded it, printed it, and put it in front of you while you're listening to this. So then in category 3, we're looking at kind of like the core family competence. How well does your family understand the core issues that are going to impact them and how to best respond? Okay, rate 1 to 10, And then put down the family dynamic. How well does your family know which services in the community to look for, where to find them, and how to engage them for assistance? 1 through 10 would be your rating score. And then what you would do is you would rank, which one of these 4 categories, the family dynamic, the disease, the core competencies for the family, or the family kind of in the sense of which services are critical for you. So with that in mind, we're turning to the page that says part 2, and it's the seminar learning objectives. And we've listed them 1 through 5 is if you scored high in your review of those category questions and 1 was your highest number, then spend time selecting some of these as your first seminars. And they would include the family being a system, different roles family members play, childhood trauma, different types of family therapy. And what we're going to then do is we're going to look at the disease, which is seminars or issues 6 through 9. And if you scored on that category in the beginning for category 2, if that was your highest, then that's where you would start, okay? And you would pick out some of these 4 possible seminars, which include getting a diagnosis. No, get 3. Get 1 for mental health, get 1 for addiction, and get 1 for medical. Each diagnosis will have a stage, mild, moderate, severe. Each mild, moderate, severe diagnosis will have a plan of treatment. So it's very possible this person that you care about could be running with 3 plan of treatments, and they will progress differently. So it's a lot to keep your eyes on, but when you started out knowing this, it makes it a lot easier. So with that in mind, it's a brain disease, and it's very important that you understand why we're saying that. And then the disease progresses in stages. It's good for you to know the stages. And then the relapse is a part of the disease. It shouldn't be a surprise. So we show you that there's 3 phases or stages to relapse, what they look like, and then how they typically recover from that. So then we're in the category 3, which is the core competencies. And this is about 12 different seminars that you could choose from. If you scored high in category 3, this is where you would start. So enabling versus disabling, or enabling versus consequences. Addiction behavior and boundaries. The family intervention. It's about the 5 stages of change and motivational interviewing. Police intervention. Emergency medical service intervention. Treatment center intervention. Support agency mapping. The relapse. Successful lifelong recovery. Bereavement and faith spiritual practices. So that's those 12 that are the core. If you got this, you've got a lot going on in terms of knowledge If you scored high in category 3 in that first survey that we took before we started this section, then this is where you'd start on your selection card in terms of building your curriculum. You'd choose some out of here first, and then the capacity to take action, okay, for the family, which was the 4th category. If you scored high, then these next 10 or so issues, seminars, would be of value to you to take first. And that includes the elements of a family plan of action, roles the family members play in the plan of action, getting networked in advance, suicide prevention, financial management in substance use disorders. Your money is a finite number, and you really need to know how this is going to be impacting you financially. You can determine some of these things by looking ahead, because we do know the journey, and determining, what are the possible commitments and where you're going to draw the monies from. The foster care services, Narcan, peer-to-peer support services, medical assisted treatment, known as MAT, creating a family solution finder learning centers, harm reduction. So and we also have a program for reentry. So with that in mind, we're turning to part 3 now, and we're identifying that you're going to put down which one of these seminars you're going to take, when you're going to start them, and what your target date is, or when you're going to complete them. Okay. Then you're going to have, and another one is, you actually ended up turning about 2 pages to get to the next part, which is a kind of a seminar report card, which you've completed. And maybe the courts have asked you to do this, so the seminar report card could be your response back to them in terms of here's how I'm progressing. So in part 5, you're going to want to order the books. You can download them; they're on. But I'll tell you what, the study guide is 400 pages, so that's a lot to print out, regardless of what your printer does. For $10, you can buy the study guide on Amazon, and this shows you the title of the 4 books that take you through this curriculum. So now we're turning to something that I think is pretty valuable. It's in the area of change. Everything that we're going to be talking to you about for as long as you're going to be taking these courses, because there's 32 of them, and you're going to get to decide which one. Of course, we're not sitting there saying you got to take all 32 or don't take one of them. This is here to serve you and your needs, okay, not us. Yeah, the readiness to change, I'm not going to read it because it's, I think, like 42 questions, but it takes you through a scale of not likely to this is exactly like me. Okay, so I'll just read a couple so you get kind of a feel for it. And then at the end, you'd wait it out. And it's the key to the scoring that really is the value here. But like number 1 is, I prefer the familiar to the unknown. That's like me, or it's not like me. And you get to rate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 6 being that's exactly like me, 1 being that's not like me at all. I can't wait for the next day to get started. That's like me, exactly like me, kind of like me, might be a 4, not like me at all, a 1. So you get an idea as to how these are scored. And then what the scoring key does for you is it has you identify what value you gave for each numbered question. And that puts you into some categories. The categories are 7 of them. You're resourceful, you're adaptable, you're optimistic, you're confident, you're adventurous, and you're tolerant. And you'll see, like under tolerance, it says, what was the answer to number 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35? You see, each question in there has a purpose, and they are also oriented towards tolerance in your reply. So now you get a score for each of those 7 categories, and then you can actually put down, okay, which category I'm in the strongest in and which I'm in the weakest in. And that is going to be the area of where you are strong in the fact that you're ready to change, and where you're weak and maybe holding you back in the area of ready to change. Isn't this cool? I mean, we get to help you in a way that, I don't know, I bet you didn't see it coming. But the fact is, once we get you through that hurdle, because everything we're talking about, you're going to change. I'm not going to apologize for it. You're going to change. And the fact is, the more you know about change, the better off you'll be with the change, because as you see it happening, you can take a lot of ownership in the fact that this was very helpful for us, actually. So now you're ready to build your curriculum. And here's where we're going to use the build your own, on-demand build your own curriculum blue book, and that's going to have us come into an instruction, okay? So this is how it's going to work going forward. You're going to take your curriculum builder selection card, and where it says, your first seminar is, let's say, get a diagnosis. For whatever reason, that was a high priority, and that's the one you're taking first. And so you go to seminar number 6, which is on our website, which is Families Impacted by Opioids, on the 32 learning seminars, and you scroll down until you get to that particular one. There'll be a YouTube there, which you should watch. Then you read the study guide, which you should have already purchased. Then you watch the TV episode of Fentanyl and Families in Harm's Way for that specific issue, which we had decided was get an assessment, number 6. So now you take out your learning module number 2, where it's a seminar workbook, and you write down, how does this issue impact the family? And then inside of Fentanyl and Families in Harm's Way TV episode, the latter part of every one of those episodes takes you through, now let's develop a decision, determine a solution, develop a decision, and design a plan of action, okay, for that issue. So you pull out that book. And then the 4th learning module is, let's go find somebody in the community that can help us. Wow. Doesn't this sound like a lot of work? Yeah, it is a lot of work, okay? I got news for you. You go through without this, your workload is going to be 50 times harder, and it's going to mess you up 50 times more than if you took the time to do this work here and then applied it to your life as you start to experience these issues. Because we know your journey. We know your journey because we know the addict's journey. And we've been at this for a long time, okay? So there's very little that you're going to experience that we haven't seen multiple times before. That's why we're teaching you this now. We're not teaching you. We're exposing you to it. You're teaching yourself, actually. So with that in mind, I want to thank you for taking these 3 seminars. You can call me at any time, 440-385-7605, and we can sit down and talk about where you are, and I'll ask you some questions just to find out where you'd like to go, and we'll see if this is a fit. If it's not a fit, I'll be happy to admit that it's not a fit. I mean, some people know all this. I'd be surprised because there's so much, but some people know all this, and a lot of people only need a part of it. So we're not here to waste your time. We want to maximize whatever time you're giving yourself in order to grow and get ready for change, because change is coming. No one gets out of this experience with substance use disorders in the family. No one gets out without changing. Everybody's going to change. So let's get in front of this. And this is a great way to do that. And once again, I sound like a resounding drum, but once again, we're only the starting point of your knowledge. All of the information that we have here that we're giving to you is SAMHSA, ASAM, NIH, empirically proven studies, clinical articles. None of this content is ours. We just brought it down to a level that's going to be helpful for you. Once again, my name is Roy Poyan, and our website is Families Impacted by Opioids, and our email is familiesimpactedbyopioids@gmail.com, and our phone number is 440-385-7605. We are a non-for-profit education charity, 501c3, and we survive on donations. And you'll see that you can send us a check, or you can use PayPal on our website. Thank you, Birch. Thank you very, very much. And God bless you.
Stand up for yourself, and I'll back you up. 'Cause problems don't solve themselves. I'll tell you what, instead of would or could, I think you should draw a line in the sand and stand your ground. It's for your own good.